first lesson today is taken from Hebrews, chapter 1, verses 1 through 4, and chapter 2, verses 5 through 9. Going through a long line of prophets, God has been addressing our ancestors in different ways for centuries. Recently, he spoke to us directly through his Son. By his Son, God created the world in the beginning, and it will all belong to the Son at the end. This Son perfectly mirrors God and is stamped with God's nature. He holds everything together by what he says. Powerful words. After he finished the sacrifice for sins, the Son took his honored place high in the heavens, right alongside God, far higher than any angels in rank and rule. God didn't put angels in charge of this business of salvation that we're dealing with here. It says in Scriptures, "What is man and woman that you bother with them? Why take a second look at their way? You made them not quite as high as angels, bright with Eden's dawn light. Then you put them in charge of your entire handcrafted world. When God put them in charge of everything, nothing was excluded. But we don't see it yet. Don't see everything under human jurisdictions. What we do see is Jesus, made not quite as high as angels, and then through the experience of death, crowned so much higher than any angel with a glory, bright with Eden's dawn light." In the second lesson, it's taken from Matthew, chapter 10, verses 5 through 31. Jesus sent his 12 harvest hands out with this charge. Don't begin by traveling to some far-off place to convert unbelievers. You don't try to be dramatic by tackling some public enemy. Go to the lost, confused people right here in the neighborhood. Tell them that the kingdom is here. Bring health to the sick. Raise the dead. Touch the untouchables. Kick out the demons. You have been treated generously, so live generously. Don't think you have to put on a fundraising campaign before you start. You don't need a lot of equipment. You are the equipment. And all you need to keep that going is 3 meals a day. Travel light. When you enter a town or village, don't insist on staying in a luxury inn. Get a modest place. With some modest people, and be content there until you leave. When you knock on the door, be courteous in your greetings. If they welcome you, be gentle in your conversation. If they don't welcome you, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene. Shrug your shoulders and be on your way. You can be sure that on Judgment Day, they'll be mighty sorry, but it's no concern of yours now. Stay alert. This is hazardous work I'm assigning you. You're going to be like sheep running through a wolf pack. So don't call attention to yourselves. Be as shrewd as a snake, inoffensive as a dove. Don't be naive. Some people will question your motive. Others will smear your reputation just because you believe in me. Don't be upset when they haul you before the civil authorities. Without knowing it, they've done you and me a favor, given you a platform for preaching the kingdom news. And don't worry about what you'll say or how you'll say it. The right words will be there. The Spirit of your Father will supply the words. When people realize it is the living God you are presenting that makes them feel good, they're going to turn on you, even people in your own family. There is great irony here, proclaiming so much love, experiencing so much hate, but don't quit. Don't cave in. It is all well worth it in the end. It is not success that you are after in such time, but survival. Be survivors. Before you run out of options, the Son of Man will have arrived. A student doesn't get a better desk than her teacher. A laborer doesn't make more money than his boss. Be content, pleased even, when you, my students, my harvest hands, get the same treatment I get. If they call me the master, Bum-face, what can the workers expect? Don't be intimidated. Eventually, everything is going to be out in the open, and everyone will know how things really are. So don't hesitate to go public now. Don't be bluffed into silence by the threat of bullies. There are nothing they can do to your soul, your core being. Save your fear for God, who holds your entire life, body and soul, in his hands. What's the price of a pet canary? Some loose change, right? And God cares what happens to it even more than you do. He pays even greater attention to you, down to the last detail, even numbering the hairs on your head. So don't be intimidated by all this bully talk. You're worth more than 1,000,000 canaries. Word of God for the people of God. It's interesting how in these scriptures that we have here, Christ, who is going to be going, and they've already known this, going to his death, sends his disciples out because he has to teach them what their position is and how they should act. He's teaching. And where does he teach them that they should go? Well, in the Jewish faith, you have hierarchies. You have this priests, and you have the Pharisees, and you have the Sadducees, and then you have the others. The people who support the religion but have nothing to say about it. The people who have lost their way. They may say that they're Jewish, but they may not have gone to all the different things that they're supposed to do to become a true Jew. The others. And who is Christ sending them out, the disciples out to? First of all, they are supposed to go to the Jewish people. They will go to the rest of the world later. But he's sending them out to the others. We all know within our own communities what the others are. We've been exposed to them from the time we were knee-high to a grasshopper. They're the people that, well, we know they're there, but we really don't have anything to do with them. In my class when I was growing up, we had some that were others. And the one that was most notable, I'll use her name as S. S was very short. I don't think she was 5 foot tall when she graduated. Fairly slightly built. Strong for her age in spite of her size. And she had to be. She came from a family that was definitely part of the others. The father, he had to go around in a wheelchair all the time. The mother was probably smaller than she was. They had about 9 or 10 kids in that family. I don't remember which. And they lived off of welfare. And not just welfare, but the father was a bit of a tyrant. And every day, she was one of the 2 oldest children in that family. She had a sister that was a year older than she was, that was She had problems both mentally and emotional. And S looked out for her. And when things had to be done, S was in charge of making sure that they were done. One of the things that they would do is they would go down to the dump every time they got a chance with their coaster wagon, and then they would bring that coaster wagon back full of goodies that they had gotten from the dump. Some of it was food, some of it was clothing. And that's what they wore, and that's what they ate, a big share of it. And because they wore that, S often smelled a little bit. But she took care of her older sister and her younger children that were in the family, made sure that they got to school and made sure that they got done what had to be done. But S in our class was an other. Someone you didn't purposely associate with, but you tried not to treat them too badly. And it's interesting. Out of all the kids that I graduated with, the one person I admired the most is S. She came from that beginning, became a practical nurse, worked in nursing homes and hospitals, and is still doing it today. And she became very active in her United Methodist Church. She works with children. She helps in any way she can and is well respected within her community. From where she began to where she ends up in her life. What a change. She had nothing and now is everything. And to think that when I was a child growing up, I did not treat her badly. My problem was I often ignored her as much as possible. And for that, and heaven forgive me. Christ is sending his disciples out to those others within her community, within the community that he grew up in, within the people in his church family, the ones who are shepherds, are day laborers, the ones who don't quite fit into that Pharisee, Sadducee priest neighborhood. The ones who've had things happen to them. The widows, the orphans. Go to them. And what's interesting in our life of our church, where did John Wesley go to? The others in his community. The people that worked in the mines, the people that worked in the factories, the people that got by just from hand to mouth. Just as Christ is sending these out. Because when you're in that position, when you are hurting, that's when Christ can do his best work. Our religion that we have, our United Methodist religion, isn't here in this church. Yes, we come here to get refreshed and to get all hepped up and say, I need to do something. Then do it. Go out. Talk to people. And especially, talk to those others within your community. They're the ones that need the help the most and will respect you for what you do. Guess what? This is part of what being a neighbor is. As one who's seen neighbors doing things for neighbors, when it has to be done, what a perfect time to just be Christ to the people that are there. And yes, the church is here. But the church can't be here unless you're out there. And I've been in the Catholic religion, the Lutheran religion, I've been in the Presbyterian religion, now the United Methodist religion. And when you talk to the people that are in charge of those faiths, the hierarchs, the vast majority of people that are brought into our church come from people that are in our pews, not the pastor who's standing up here. So, Christ is also sending you out. Go to the lowly. Go to the others. Amen.